Good morning. We're continuing with Chapter 9. Today we're going to do Lesson 2, Rational and Irrational Numbers. So we have this picture here to help us understand the different type of numbers. So we start with natural numbers. Natural numbers are positive whole numbers, like 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay? A whole number is all natural numbers, but it also includes 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now, integers are natural, whole, and you can throw in negative numbers as well. So we can do a -1, we can do a 0, we can do a 5. You can also do the square root of 49 because that would be a 7. Okay, so 0, positive, negative, and then taking the square root of something to give you a whole number. Okay? And then above all that is rational numbers. Rational numbers are all of these, plus you can have decimals, but the decimals have to stop or be repeating. So 7/8 would work, 2/3 would work, -3.4. You've got your regular numbers of like -5, +6. You can have a 0, and then a decimal that repeats like 9.45 repeats. Okay, so these are all rational numbers. On the other side are irrational numbers. These are the nasty numbers that nobody really likes. Like pi, it's a decimal that keeps going and going. If you take the square root of 10, you get a decimal that keeps going and going. And then here's just a decimal that keeps going and going. Okay? Okay, so let's kind of define what we just talked about. Rational numbers are repeating decimals or decimals that stop, or whole numbers, negative numbers, integers, all those. Okay, so some examples like we talked about. 2/3 gives you a repeating decimal of 0.6, and another one would be 3/4 gives you a decimal of 0.75, so it stops. Okay? Irrational numbers are those long decimals with no pattern, no repeating. So the square root of 2 would be 1, because if you type that in your calculator, you get 1.414213, and it keeps going and going. Okay. So this bottom section, we just have to change these numbers to a decimal so we can look at it, and then we can decide if it's rational or irrational. So grab your calculators, and you're going to type in 61 times pi. So 61 times pi is 191.637, and it keeps going, and there's no pattern. So that means this is irrational. I. 42, that number just stops. That's rational. Number 3, circle this. There's your repeating decimal, so that makes it rational. Okay. Number 4, type in square root of 101. So square root, for the second, x squared gives you the square root of 101. That gives us, what do we got here? 10.04987, and it keeps going and going. Irrational. 5 has that repeating, so circle it. That makes it rational. 20 divided by 6. 20 divided by 6 is 3.3 repeating, so that is rational. Pi we already talked about. Pi is a long, nasty decimal. That's irrational. 98 divided by 16 is 6.125. That decimal stops. That makes it rational. Square root of 17 is 4.123, and then I don't see anything that is repeating, so that's irrational. And the last one, square root of 64, is 8. That is a rational number. Okay, check Google Classroom for your assignment.